But there was another objective, which we stated in early 2012. We are a company of acquisitions. Over the last 7 years, if you look back, this company has successfully grown with acquisitions. If you go to our corporate office now, you will see 9 brands, maybe 2 more there, with Indiana coming, etc., right? So we continue to grow, and we are proud of our growth as a company. But everything has a positive and negative. The positive has been we have grown rapidly, and we have done a good job. The negative is we have so many companies came with different processes. You happen to be in a region which has been here forever, right? But I'm talking about other regions which have been added, other offices which have been added. So as a result, everybody has been trying to do a good job. But the 20,000 patients we touch every day, 13 to 14 are in VN, 6 to 7 are somewhere, that number in PC. We have probably 30 different ways of taking care of them, right? None of them is bad or wrong, but it has not been consistent. And I always give this analogy of you go from a country store to a 7-Eleven to a Walmart, right? But when you get into that category of 7-Elevens and Walmarts, which we are, and we continue to grow and have a plan to grow, you may hear soon some more acquisitions next year, then we need to act like those companies. We need to act like McDonald's. We need to act like Walmart. What that means is, doesn't matter the store is in Louisville or Connecticut or in St. Louis or in Jacksonville, Florida, they should be doing the same thing. You can drive through any McDonald's in the country or the world, you're going to get the same menu, same number of seconds or minutes, right? And you know what you want, you get it. And employees know it. Same way Walmart. It's not like Walmart has a successful store and little less successful store, and the successful store manager is going to say, let me show you how to do ordering. How are you going to get this? Because I know better. I came from Publix or something, right? They can't. So that is a paradigm shift. The paradigm shift for the company has to be, when we hire our directors, our clinical managers, our executive directors, we are not hiring them to invent processes. We are not hiring them to develop things. We are really hiring, the first purpose is to ensure once we deliver that. So I have to take, a confession on that, that if we have not given them standardized, then we can't ask. But our going forward plan is we're hiring them to deliver standardized processes and care with optimal outcomes to our customers. And customers are employees, patients, families, referral sources. So I think there is a need for adjustment of paradigm. And it is at every level that we want as AFAM going forward to give this message out very clearly, that the role of CLMs, directors, executive directors, is to implement AFAM way. That's not my way, your way, Missy way, Sarah way. It is our way. We want to deliver things which have been tested, which have been vetted. It is our duty and job to spend enough time making sure we have obtained the input, developed consensus, tested things out, and then we can demand and request that please follow same. You got that point? So that's very important. I think it's a paradigm. And if you're already doing it, great. If not, then this is a starting point of that. So you make your own decision on that. Now, AFAM Way has been our mission to develop AFAM Way. So what we did over the last 12 months, we looked at everything we had. We visited offices. I have personally visited probably, if not more, 60% of the offices in many regions, less in others. Other team members have visited. I have sat down with the CTAs in some offices and watched their process one step to the other. And my hat's off to everybody because they all do a great job. But I also realized that some of the processes we had were not consistent or keeping up with going forward needs. Therapy threshold came, face-to-face came, the time requests are coming. And so we got on a mission that while we were developing the highways with SHP, with CardioCom, with clinical programs, and integrating with technology, trying to find out ways to do it the best way, we also started looking at processes. and we built a clinical task force. We started taking inputs. I can't even tell you how many meetings we had with how many people. I mean, I can tell you it's almost an analogy of working with Congress. You know what I'm saying? You have to take input, you have to go back again, fix it, and it's all good, nothing bad. But we have done that. And it took us that long, almost 12 months, to get to a point where today we can say to you, we're ready with our phase 1. So that's kind of a little history from where we started and where we are going with this. And we don't take it lightly because this is our going forward plan on AFAM Way. So AFAM Way starts with day in the life of our directors, of our CLM. And I want to tell you a little story. I was very focused 18 months ago, 12 months ago, along with the team, to focus on processes, intake, flow charts, all those kind of things. And William one day said, well, have we focused on how our offices are organized? Have we focused on timeline, what happens at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the offices? Have we given guidance to people? So he asked all these questions, and my first reaction was, that's almost there already, and this is very basic. We shouldn't worry about that. But when I went back to my office after meeting with him, it hit me that how smart that idea is, because I was not focusing on that part at that time. I was into this clinical thing, right? And then I started asking questions around. I visited offices, team visited offices, and we did find that he's exactly right. Our offices are not functioning the same way everywhere. And I will quote Sarah, one of the offices she went, and she said, I went to this office, in the same office, 2 clinical teams were functioning differently, right? You notice that. We went to another office in Florida, we found the same thing. We went to another office, we found the director never came out of their office, right? All day. They're very busy. So we realized that statement, which sounded to me in the first reaction very basic, was probably the smartest thing somebody said to me about that. And we took it and we started working on it, bottoms up. We started obtaining all these 20 pages of old staffing model 52.1 and what the roles are, tasks are. We read every line. We looked at, is there any day in the life of anybody available anywhere? We couldn't find one, right? We tried to find, is there a guidance, what happens 8 to 9, 9 to 10, 10 to 11, right? Couldn't find to that extent. I'm sure everybody does a good job in somehow. So we added that to the AFAM Way requirements. And I call it the foundation. If you look at our outcomes at the third story, the first story of the building and the foundation is making sure that all our offices are organized same way, which large extent they are about staffing, etc. Are our people sitting almost the same way if we go to one office or the other, right? Are they clear about what's day in the life of a CLM and a CTA and a DPS, what their week looks like, what their month looks like? I want to caution you, before I get into that discussion, it's not about managing every minute of a person. It's not about micromanaging every second of our employees. It is about making sure that the entire company is focused on certain tasks at a certain time and moving those buckets in a timely manner. If somebody is very smart, they can finish in 10 minutes or their load is less, good for them, God bless, right? They move to the second. If somebody's taking 10 minutes extra for any given reason, good for them, because we want them to know you are behind, but you got to catch up. So that's the premises behind all that discussion, day in the life of. And we have gone a hard way and the hard route of going bottoms up, looking at the task. Everybody gave input. So we're going to land slowly into the clinical team discussion, which is on our agenda, and try to stay on time. But I do want to talk about clinical teams. But before we go there, if you ask me today, phase 1, which is written there on your agenda as a scope, but first 3 columns are the phase 1. All the 6 columns is a total episode management, right? Because as you all know, you are experts, that episode management starts with intake, goes all the way to post-discharge, right? And discharge planning starts at the time of admission. We all learned it in our schools and practices. And it never ends even after patient gets discharged. Doesn't matter what diagnosis it is. It can be CHF, it can be COPD, it can be comorbidity. But we are focused today more on the first three columns, and we call it phase one. We knew getting into it, we can't deliver to you, I wish we could, everything at one time. But we realize we can't wait because 2014 is only less than 90 days away now. Last week it was 90 days away. And time is running so fast. We are also trying to catch up on the CMS changes, etc. So we wanted to roll out what is ready. And didn't want to overpromise to you or prematurely deliver anything to you, because we want to make sure that we have thought through everything which we are delivering. So when we share the clinical teams today with you, tasks with you, we'll share with you what we are not ready with and what we'll be delivering between now and end of the year and what's coming in phase two. So the first three columns, which start with intake, with face-to-face, goes all the way to finalizing the plan of care, is phase one. But then once the plan of care is finalized, then clinical case conferences, managing the episode, variants, orders, supplemental orders, discharge planning is all coming. Your scheduling is all going to be phase two. So two terms we have to remember today, phases and versions. So version one of phase one is what you are going to get today. And version one is not negotiable at this time. It is the way it has been designed. We request you to implement as you go forward, and by end of the day, you will know how to. That doesn't mean we don't value your input and feedback even on version one. But we have made a commitment among ourselves that we will not make changes to any version unless we go through all constituencies and make sure we have had a chance to sit together and make a determination. So I don't have the liberty to just change something. Neither you have that liberty. None of us, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to roll out version one of phase one. We're going to all work together as a team, and there will be some bumps on the way. We'll find those, make notes of those, and we'll tell you where to report, right? And we'll take that into consideration in version two. Got the idea a little bit? So while we are working on version one, we are going to also start working on phase two, which we are already working, and bring that back to you. So it's a process, it's not an event. So today you are not going to get everything, but you're going to get phase one, version one. Outcomes are a function of clinical outcomes and patient satisfaction. We already talked about it. I won't spend too much time on outcomes today, but in a different setting we will. Staff development we already talked about. Hire right, train right, keep right, provide competency, credentialing, certification. We are very committed to it. And we can also celebrate today. I think we have about 70 nurses in the company now. We are ANCC certified. Let's give them a big hand because they deserve it. And we have 68% of our full-time RNs credentialed now in our internal credentialing. So we're moving ahead. We may not be moving ahead with the speed we want, but in every area we're making progress in the company on every front. So we're really proud of where we are today as compared to, and the credit goes to all of you. Our job is to help and assist, but also to coordinate. But we are very glad where we are on our milestones. This is the same diagram I was talking about February 2012. I shared with the team in the sales meeting. I shared with CHF rollout. It is part of our flip chart in CHF, but that's what I was talking about, SHP, EMR, continue to improve, not there yet, cardiocom, medication system, pathway training, which is our health stream. So this stays in front of us every day, and hopefully you are using all these tools. This is the intake plan of care we'll be talking about. So we are going to lead towards what are the things we're going to be talking today. And we did all this showcase in ED bootcamp. Some of you were in the ED bootcamp. It is the same thing, so we are not changed anything from there. But now it's the point was we wanted to share with them first and now with directors and make sure we are all on the same page. So all these things you will be looking at today with us. And these are the tools or the pieces or guidance documents or training documents